Good afternoon, good afternoon. Please make sure that you remain in your seats because we have an amazing speaker for you next. Mosab Abu Toha is a Palestinian poet, short story writer, and Pulitzer Prize-winning essayist from Gaza. Yes, he certainly deserves a round of applause. His first collection of poetry, Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear, was a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award for Poetry and won the Palestine Book Award, the American Book Award, and the Walcott Poetry Prize. His second collection, Forest of Noise, was longlisted for the Dylan Thomas Prize. Abu Toha is also the founder of the Edward Said Library in Gaza, which he hopes to rebuild, and he recently won an Overseas Press Club Award for his letter from Gaza, columns for the New Yorker. Please welcome our friend, Mosab Abu Toha.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, everyone. Before I start reading, I have prepared a video and all the footage and the video, photos and the videos in this were taken by me when I was in Gaza. I was born in Gaza, as many of you know. I lived in Gaza all my time, all my life, except when I had to leave in 2023. So I'll start by showing the video, not the slides yet. Yeah, let's take it from here.
ايش هذا ماما؟ انتوا اللي عاملينها خط مين هذا؟ ايش هذا؟ خط مين هذا حلو؟ خطك؟ استنى
إله إلا الله.
الأول هنا حلاقة قال له الزيتون حلاقيه أنا.
كتبك الإنجليزي يا مصعب هي أمي بترمي فيها. في كتاب للجاحظ شفت هذا. وين هذا كان والله أشر لي عليه كمان هان. كمان طلع تحتيه. أيوه هان في كتاب كمان واحد. هاي تاعت الستة أذكر شو دار النشر تاعت مصعب.
هذه شنطة
دار النشر. لا شنطة دار النشر تاعت مصعب.
تعال ضربة يا عمي. هاي عمين أولاده جديد. أولاده جديد تحت الردم. أولاده جديد. تعال. يا عم مساف هيو. يلا بدي أروح. خد على الدار. عايش الولد عايش؟ في هان خطة يا عمي، في خطة جوا هان. يا عمي تعبان وين يجي يا عمي؟ تعالوا هلا شباب، أنا بقول خشوا تحت السقف بلاش تصير شظايا.
والله احنا غاطسين بين المباني.
كثير يلا.
اذكروا الله وخلص يا جماعه.
احنا مبدئيا يعني نقعد هلا احتياط.
ولا تيجي شيء من فوق.
طلبات ما لهاش صنم زي هيك علينا، الله اعلم.
هذا طيران طبعا. هاي المدفع هذه مفهومة. صار خبط صار الخبط كمان واحد. كمان
محمد ما زرت هذا البطون انا ايش بدي عنده بس ابعد عن النايلون بديش ايش النايلون هين بس تعال
Okay, thank you, everyone. We have one more thing to share, which are the family trees that I worked on. Can you share that? Okay, next slide. So these are some of the few families which Israel killed over the past 723 days. This is one of the families, my father's cousin, who was killed with his wife and their children and the wives of their children and the grandchildren. That was October 13, 2023. Next, please. This is one of the largest families that were killed in Gaza. This is Juha family, December 6th, 2023. 91 people were killed from the same family, but this is only one of them because it was 3 grandparents who were siblings. This is one of them, Ata Saleh Juha. He was killed with his 5 sons, along with 4 wives of his sons, and the grandchildren of Ata Juha, and sometimes the great-grandchildren of this man. I talked on the phone a few days ago with the husband of Lina. As you can see on the right of the screen, there is Lina, third from the bottom. Her husband survived. His name is Anas. So his wife was killed, Lina, along with their 2 children, Kriman and Faiz. He told me the story, how he survived. He was out trying to find some food for his children and for his wife. They live in Gaza City, and on the way to the shop, far from the house, someone told him there was an airstrike in the neighborhood. And that's when he ran back to the house only to find the multi-floor house leveled to the ground. So this is one thing he told me. The other thing he told me is that they managed to bury only half of the people who were killed. The others still remain under the rubble since December 6th, 2023, including his wife, Lina, and their 2 children. Next, please. This is the other brother from the Juha family, Nuzhat. Nuzhat was not killed because he died before the genocide, but 2 of his children, Mu'in and Muhammad, were killed with their wives and their children, as I show here. One of the children here, as I note, was 8 months pregnant. Next, please. The third brother was Salah Saleh Juha. And as you can see, he's 86 years old. The first grandfather was 89 years old, a Nakba survivor from 1948. So, as I say here, one of his children was killed, who is Rawiya, 59 years old. The other two children were not killed, but their children and the grandchildren were killed, as I show in the family tree. Next. This is a smaller family at Daur, but I included it because it is just recent. The family of Ad-Daur, the father is Atiyah, his wife is Asma, their children Mu'taz, Mu'ad, and Maria, 4, 7, 9 years old. And I note here the details where they were killed, the time, 5:56 a.m. They were sleeping. This is what Israel does most of the time, target people in their tents, especially when they are sleeping. So they make sure they will never wake up again. Next. This is another family. And also, this is June 6th, so about 2 months ago or 3 months ago. This is Khadr family from Jabalia. I know some of the relatives. I don't know these people in person, but I know some of the relatives, and this is how I made the family tree. I had to talk to someone there to see whose son is this, whose wife is this. And I also managed to include the profession of most of them. So you see here, Muhammad Abdul Raziq Khadr. His wife was Aida, she was a doctor. His cousin Ramzi Ismail Khadr, he was an engineer. His wife was Ahlam, she was a teacher, and etc. So the only survivor was the husband of number 5, Ilham. Ilham was killed. Ilham Shahda Khadr was killed. She was a teacher. She was killed with her children, Shadi, Rima, Rasha, Amir, Haneen, and Muhammad. The only survivor was the father. Why? Because he was outside trying to find a means of transportation for the family to evacuate. Next. This is another smaller family, also August 22nd. Omar Harun was killed with his wife Linda, along with their children Abir, Hamza, and Yusuf. They were killed in Gaza City and a Tufah neighborhood. I think the last one is something I did today. Next, please. Yeah, this is from my family, a second cousin of mine, Muhammad Ayman Abu Toha, 32, my age. He was born in the refugee camp where I was born. He was killed with his wife Shuruq, 27 years old, along with their 4 children. One child only survived, but the other 4 children were killed: Ghada, Layth, Habiba, Yusuf. And if you follow my posts, I posted about a second cousin who was killed while trying to get aid from the Zakim aid crossing. Ali Ayman Abu Toha. Ali, who was killed 2 months ago while trying to get aid for his wife and kids and was killed there. He's the brother of Muhammad. So this is the second cousin I lose, but this time this second cousin was killed with his wife and their 4 children. Only one child survived. He was wounded, critically wounded, and I don't have any information about his status right now. So this is just to show you the stories that we are witnessing, the stories that we are watching, the stories that we are carrying on our shoulders as people who come from Gaza, like Hani, who lost about 200 family members. Al-Madhoun is one of the biggest families in Gaza, so that's why Hani lost so many of his family members, including 2 brothers and some nephews. So yeah, this is one part of the genocide, the fact that Israel is slaughtering and erasing entire families. If you can just go back a little bit to the Juha family. More, 2 more. One, okay, this one. So I put a red asterisk on Ashraf because Ashraf's family, the entire family was killed. The children, the father, Ashraf, Safa, his children, and I put their names. Ata, Saleh, Amina, Rasha, Muhammad, Fatima, who was pregnant, 8 months pregnant, and Hana. So the entire family was killed. The father, the mother, and the children. So no one survived. In the case of Zaki, as you can see here, I put SS. And SS indicates, as you can see up there in the key, spouse survived. So only the wife or the husband was killed while the other spouse was killed, survived. So the part of the genocide that I don't see a lot of attention paid to is that Israel has been erasing entire families. What is this for? Oh, could I? Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if I will need it. So that was for the first part of the presentation. All the videos that I showed with you, that I shared with you, the photos. I have audio recordings from my time in Gaza, sometimes 7 hours long of airstrikes. Sometimes when a few weeks ago, I returned, to the audios that I took, and I started listening to them, and I was shocked because in the recordings I heard new sounds of explosions that I've never heard during the morning, during the day. So they were using some kind of weapons that we could not hear during the day. So there are lots of videos and photos and audio recordings and family trees that we all need to amplify and share with the entire world. Another fact is that Israel, since October 7th, killed over 1,000 Nakba survivors. Because we always hear about the Holocaust survivors who were killed or who were kidnapped from Israel. But we never hear anyone speaking about the Nakba survivors. Over 1,000. 1,000 people. I mean, you look at the names, the list of names, and some people who were killed in the past 722 days were born in the 1930s. Very, very old people who were killed in airstrikes along with their children. Like I showed you, Ata Saleh Juha, 89 years old. He's older than Israel, older than the occupation. And he was killed with his children, the wives of his children, his grandchildren, the wives of his grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, some of them pregnant mothers. So that's, So I was planning to, prepare you for the videos to say, for your information, there is some graphic content here and there. But I thought that why should I prepare people for something that we have been living for 722 days? Sorry? Yes, this is why we should keep the stories alive. We should share the videos. Any videos that we post on Instagram, on Facebook, on Telegram, every one of you should save these things because this is for the next generations. Because never again we want to see what's happening. Because this is the purpose of documenting. It's not only documenting to show the world what is happening, but also to show the next generations that this is what the civilized world has been supporting and witnessing without doing anything other than condemnations. I will read from my first poetry collection, Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear. And we are sorry that we don't have copies. We were trying to get some copies here, but there were some problems. But I hope that you will get a copy of yours from Things You May Find It in My Ear, which was published in 2022. And for someone who picks up the book to read, they would never be able to distinguish whether these poems were written during the genocide or before, because we have been living a genocide for years and years and years. The first poem is about a family. I didn't do a tree for them because they were killed in 2021. A Talani family, a father, a mother, and their 4 children. The oldest was 10 years old. They were killed in May 2021 during Israel's terrorist attacks on Gazans. Shrapnel looking for laughter. The house has been bombed. Everyone is dead. The kids, the parents, the toys, the actors on TV, characters in novels, personas in poetry collections, the I, the he, and the she. No pronouns is left, not even for kids when they learn parts of a speech next year. Shrapnel flies in the dark, looks for the family's peals of laughter hiding behind piles of disfigured walls and bleeding picture frames. The radio no longer speaks. Its batteries have burnt. The antenna is broken. Even the broadcaster felt the pain when the radio was hit. Even we, hearing the bomb as it fell, threw ourselves to the ground, each of us counting the others around them. We were safe, but our hearts still ache. And whenever I return to this poem, I pay attention to the we were safe, because we, at the time in May 2021, is not the same we nowadays, because so many of the So many parts of the we is missing, is buried under the rubble. I have some relatives of mine who were killed over the past 2 years. They were killed literally. And their bodies remain under the rubble until today. One of them was my great aunt, Fatima Dibis, who was killed with some of her daughters and some of her grandchildren. In October 2024, I was in South Africa. And the devastating thing is that before they were killed, I posted on my social media that in that house, not only my great aunt was living there, but also my aunt, Asma, who's now living in Gaza with her children. She was in the same house. And I posted that my aunt's house is besieged by the Israeli tanks. That was October 2024. Please help them. Please evacuate them. Please, please, please. And then 20 hours later, Israel bombed the house. And as I said, my great aunt, Fatima Dibis, some of her children, and some of her grandchildren, including a first cousin of mine, Sama Dibis, 7 years old. More than half of the family, because only 4 or 5 were buried. The rest are still buried under the rubble of that house in Jabalia. And now with Israel's escalating genocidal campaign, these houses, which were already bombed, are being bombed again and again and again and being moved along with the corpses that remained under the rubble. This is what we are dealing with as Palestinians. A litany for one land after Audre Lorde. For those living on the other side, we can see you. We can see the rain when it pours on our fields, on our valleys, and when it slides down the roofs of your modern houses, built atop our homes. Can you take off your sunglasses and look at us here, see how the rain has flooded our streets, how the children's umbrellas have been pierced by a prickly downpour on their way to school? The trees, you see, have been watered with our tears. They bear no fruit. The red roses take their color from our blood. They smell of death. The river that separates us from you is just a mirage you created when you expelled us. It is one land. For those who are standing on the other side, shooting at us, spitting on us, how long can you stand there fenced by hate? Are you going to keep your black glasses on until you are unable to put them down? By the way, this is before the genocide, and now it's happening. Soon, we won't be here for you to watch. It won't matter if you blink your eyes or not, if you can stand or not. You won't cross that river to take more lands because you will vanish into your mirage. You can't build a new colony on our graves. And when we die, our bones will continue to grow, to reach and intertwine with the roots of the olive and orange trees, to bathe in the sweet Yafa Sea. One day, we will be born again when you are not there, because this land knows us. She is our mother. When we die, we're just resting in her womb until the darkness is cleared. For those who are not here anymore, we have been here forever. We have been speaking, but you never cared to listen. It is very haunting for me to read the poems that I wrote, whether after the genocide or before, because many of the things that I wrote about, out of fear, out of trauma, happened or happened again and again. And some of the things that I wrote about, I thought that they were very bad things, but they were the best compared to now. And you will see this in letter C when I read this poem. Palestine, AZ. A. An apple that fell from the table on a dark evening when man-made lightning flashed through the kitchen, the streets, and the sky, rattling the cupboards and breaking the dishes. Am is the linking verb that follows I in the present tense, when I'm no longer present, when I'm shattered. B. A book that doesn't mention my language or my country and has maps of every place except for my birthplace, as if I were an illegitimate child on Mother Earth. Borders are those invented lines drawn with ash on maps and sewn into the ground by bullets. C. Gaza is a city where tourists gather to take photos next to destroyed buildings or graveyards. A country that exists only in my mind. Its flag has no room to fly freely, but there is a space on the coffins of my countrymen. There are nowadays, no flags, no cemeteries, no shrouds, nothing to put on the coffins of my countrymen, some of whom went missing forever, some of whom are still buried under the rubble of their houses. Some of them were buried. This is real for many people. Some of them were killed and buried by strangers because there was no one there to bury them. So they buried them in a street, in a cemetery somewhere, and their families, the families of those who were buried, killed and buried, they don't know where their loved ones were buried. This is very tragic for us as Palestinians. D. Dar means house. My grandparents left their house behind in 1948 near Jaffa Beach. A tree my father told me about stood in the front yard. Dreams of children and their parents of listening to songs or watching plays at Al-Mishal Cultural Center in Gaza. Israel destroyed it in August 2018. I hate August, but plays are still performed in Gaza. Gaza is the stage. And what a stage right now. So this is from things you may find here in my ear. This is Forest of Noise, and half of the poems in the book were written before the genocide. The other half was written either while I was in Gaza or in Egypt for 6 months after I left, or in this country. So, one of the poems that I'm going to read includes someone about whom I wrote, and he's not with us anymore. I will let you know. So I just wanted to let you know that many of the places that I wrote about in this book, or in my essays, whatever, many of the places that I wrote about are gone. Some of the people I wrote about are gone. But the poem remains, and it is an archive. Unfortunately, the only thing that I can access. I can access the poems. I can access the poem as the land and also as the people who live on that land. My dreams as a child. I still have dreams about a room filled with toys my mother always promised we could have if we were rich. I still have dreams about seeing the refugee camp from a window on a plane. I still have dreams about seeing the animals I learned about in 3rd grade: elephant, giraffe, kangaroo, and wolf. I still have dreams about running for miles and miles with no border blocking my feet, with no unexploded bombs scaring me off. I still have dreams about my favorite team playing soccer on the beach, me waiting for the ball to come my way and run away with it. I dream still about my grandfather, Hassan. How much I want to pick oranges with him in Jaffa. But my grandfather died. Jaffa is occupied, and oranges no longer grow in his weeping groves. Also in this poem, I revisit the poems every time and look at some of my dreams, which could not be realized. But now with this genocide, they are farther and farther from being realized. I said I still have dreams about seeing the refugee camp from a window on a plane. Now there is no refugee camp. Israel destroyed and erased 2 refugee camps in Gaza out of the 8. And they are in the process of, today I read the news that Israel is blowing up houses in a Shati camp where I was born. So even this dream, seeing the refugee camp from a window on a plane, is getting more and more impossible to realize. No art. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Elizabeth Bishop. You know everything, this is before the genocide. You know everything will come to an end. The sugar, the tea, the dried sage, the water. Just go to the market and restock. Even your shadow will abandon you when there is no light. So just keep things that require only you, the book of poems that only you can decipher, the blank map of a country whose cities and villages only you can recognize. I have personally lost 3 friends to war, a city to darkness, and a language to fear. This was not easy to survive, but survival proved necessary to master. But of all things, losing the only photo of my grandfather under the rubble of our house was a real disaster. We are looking for Palestine. This was before the genocide. The sun rises and moves around. It sets to visit other places, and we are looking for Palestine. The birds wake up and look for food. They chirp on the blossoming trees laden with fruit, with peaches, apples, apricots, and oranges, and we are looking for Palestine. The sea waves lap against the shore. They glitter and dance with the fishers' boats, and we are looking for Palestine. People travel to relatives and friends. They book round-trip tickets, stuff their suitcases with gifts and books and clothes, and we are looking for Palestine. Sir, we have no airports and seaports, no trains or highways. We have no passable roads. Sir, we do have crutches and wheelchairs. Young men with one or no legs, no longer able to work as if there was work. We travel to the West Bank or Egypt for surgery, even to set a broken leg. But we need a permit. Many people who were critically wounded are unable to leave just to receive treatment. It's been for a long time, and the poem is the evidence. We need a permit to enter. We stuff our suitcases with pictures and memories. They feel very heavy on the ground. We can't carry them, neither can the roads. They scar the surface of the earth. We get lost in the past, present, and future. When a child is born, we feel sad for him or her. A child is born here to suffer, sir. A mother feels the great pain in labor. A child cries after leaving her dark place. In Palestine, children always cry. In Palestine, our dark is not safe. If we want to travel, we leave many times. In Gaza, you leave via either Erez or Rafah, a hard escape to make. So we search for the visa interview. Cairo, Istanbul, Amman, but not in Palestine. We don't have embassies, sir. The one in Jerusalem is farther than the Andromeda galaxy. Andromeda is 2.5 million light years away, but our years stay heavy and dark. It would take trillions of years. Sir, we are not welcome anywhere. Only cemeteries do not mind our bodies. We no longer look for Palestine. Our time is spent dying. Soon, Palestine will search for us, for our whispers, for our footsteps, our fading pictures fallen off blown-up walls. Thank you. Request letter. He pens a quick letter on paper, a letter as plain in regard to form as possible with no white spaces, and throws it in the graveyard at night. Angel of death, when you collect the souls of those killed in an airstrike, do you mind leaving a sign for us so we know who is who? Because last time, my old kindergarten teacher couldn't recognize her daughter's face, which ear or arm or bloody finger on the dusty streets was hers, and the father wouldn't recognize which was his child if it wasn't for the size of the shoes, 28 European size still on the sole, that he bought her for the new school year. On the back of the paper, he pens the same letter in Arabic, because who could know what language the angel of death uses, the most spoken language in the world, or the language of God? إلى ملك الموت. عندما تجمع أرواح من قتلوا في الغارة الجوية، هل تمانع بأن تترك لنا إشارة تدلنا على من هو من؟ لأنه في المرة الماضية لم تستطع معلمتي الكبيرة أيام الروضة أن تتعرف على وجه ابنتها. أية أذن أو ذراع أو أصبع مدمي في الشارع المغبر كان لابنتها. وكذا أب لم يستطع أن يعرف أية طفلة كانت ابنته لولا حجم الحذاء 28 بالمقياس الأوروبي كان منقوشا على نعل الحذاء الذي اشتراه لها للعام الدراسي الجديد. What a Gazan should do during an Israeli airstrike. This was May 2021. Turn off the lights in every room. Sit in the inner hallway of the house, away from the windows. Stay away from the stove. Stop thinking about making black tea. Have a bottle of water nearby, big enough to cool down children's fear. Get a child's kindergarten backpack and stuff tiny toys and whatever amount of money there was. And the ID cards and photos of later grandparents, uncles or aunts, and the grandparents' wedding invitation that's been kept for a long time. And if you are a farmer, you should put some strawberry seeds in one pocket and some soil from the balcony flower pot in the other. And hold on tight to whatever number there was on the cake from the last birthday. This poem, the farmer in this poem was my father-in-law, who was killed in an airstrike last month. I never thought that I would be writing about people who were alive, who were eating with me, who were picking strawberries with me like Rifat, and now this is my father-in-law, that they would be killed later. That they would be killed later. For me, Israel, genocidal Israel, killed the strawberry. It killed the strawberry by killing Rifat, someone who loved the strawberry. It killed the strawberry farm in Beit Lahia. That's where it's mostly planted. And last month, they killed the strawberry farmer. Okay, this is a long poem that I wrote during the genocide. Under the rubble. She slept on her bed, never woke up again. Her bed has become her grave, a tomb beneath the ceiling of her room, the ceiling a cenotaph. No name, no year of birth, no year of death, no epitaph, only blood and a smashed picture frame in ruin next to her. In Jabalia camp, a mother collects her daughter's flesh in a piggy bank, hoping to buy her a plot on a river in a faraway land. This part is about my wife's uncle, Nasim Abu Shadiq, who was born nonverbal and deaf. Nasim was sheltering in a school in Beit Lahia, the same school where I attended my 4th grade. He was sheltering with his wife and their 2 kids. And he was abducted along with other people from inside the school. He was taken to the Kamal Udwan hospital for interrogation, and then he was released. By the time he arrived at the gate to the school, he was shot by a sniper. And there was a photo, but I'm not going to share everything because of that, the limitation of the time. There is a photo of him. No one knew at the time that it was him, but there is a photo someone posted on social media. That was December. I think it was 1 or 2 days after or before Rifat was killed. That was early December. So someone posted a photo of someone who was lying dead outside of the school, and he was wearing a doctor's uniform. And why would Nasim wear a doctor's uniform? Here's the answer. The Israelis, when they took him, they forced every one of them to remove all their clothes. This is the same thing they did with me when I was abducted in November 2023. But they forced every one of them to remove all their clothes. And then when they released him, he didn't have his clothes. So the doctors who were working at the hospital gave him what they had. So that's why he was wearing a white doctor's uniform. So that was Nasim Abu Shadiq. A group of mute people were talking sign. When a bomb fell, they fell silent. It rained again last night. The new plant looked for an umbrella in the garage. The bombing got intense, and our house looked for an umbrella in the neighborhood. That was months and months ago. I was worried about our neighborhood. Now, our city. The bombing got intense and our city looked for a shelter in Palestine. Now Palestine needs a shelter. The bombing got intense and Palestine is looking for a shelter in this world. I leave the door to my room open so the words in my books, the titles and names of authors and publishers could flee when they hear the bombs. I became homeless once, but the rubble of my city covered the streets. They could not find a stretcher to carry your body. They put you on a wooden door they found under the rubble. Your neighbors, a moving wall. The scars on our children's faces will look for you. Our children's amputated legs will run after you. This is before GHF. People were going to bakeries to buy some bread or to stand in long lines to get some bread for their children. Many of them were killed while waiting, or they were killed on the way back. He left the house to buy some bread for his kids. News of his death made it home, but not the bread. No bread. Death sits to eat whoever remains of the kids. No need for a table. No need for bread. What are you thinking? What thinking? What you? You. Is there still you? You there? This is a poem that I wrote when people were asked to leave Beit Lahia. That was October and November and December 2023. So I was asking this question, and now imagine if I'm going to ask this question these days. Where should people go? Should they build a big ladder and go up? But heaven has been blocked by the drones and F-16s and the smoke of death. My son, we were in Egypt at the time, my son asks me whether when we return to Gaza, I could get him a puppy. I say I promise, if we can find any. I ask my son if he wishes to become a pilot when he grows up. He says he won't wish to drop bombs on people and houses. When we die, our souls leave our bodies, take with them everything they loved in our bedrooms, the perfume bottles, the makeup, the necklaces, and the pens. In Gaza, our bodies and rooms get crushed. Nothing remains for the soul. Even our souls, they get stuck under the rubble for weeks. I will end with a new poem that I published after the book came out. It's called A Hand is No Longer a Hand, and the title is from one part of the poem, which is about stray dogs and cats feeding on the bodies of people who were killed and whose bodies were left in the street for the starved animals to eat. Yesterday, I think I posted a video, but it was blurred, of a dog feeding on the body of an old woman in the street. A hand is no longer a hand. After the airstrike near a mulberry tree and some wild plants, they found the unmoving body of a boy. An eye was completely closed. The other was half open, watching for any piece of shrapnel that could kill him again. In my city, the army rounded up all the men, forced them to stand against the wall of the primary school. The hands raised, touched the newly painted bricks, as if getting prepared to play the piano before the bullets drummed on shivering heads and backs. During the airstrike, we sat on the tiled, dusty floor, stuck still as pills in a bottle in a pharmacy in a town where no one gets sick, where everybody's dead. I look at his wrist. It is crushed, nearly severed. And then at his shoulder, a bone is fractured. He is 4 years old. I say to my wife, "Oh, look how brave he is. He is not crying, no pain, no tears, even with no parents beside him." This is how we are viewed. "Oh, look at this baby. He's hero. He's not crying. He lost his arm and he's bleeding, and he's not crying." But no. I set my eyes on his face. His eyes are not moving. His heart is not beating. He is taking a rest. A hand is no longer a hand as long as it does not find another hand to shake, as long as it does not find food to share with others, as long as it does not find a pen to write, as long as it's the only meat a dog can find to eat, as long as it goes missing forever. Is this really it? Us waking up every morning, tell you about a massacre that happened overnight? Is our only job to report on our deaths, film our cut-off bodies, and ask you for help? When do you wake up? Is it okay with you to wake up, to find your house on fire, to find your child charred, to find your wife in a hospital with no medicine, to find your neighborhood a heap of rubble? To not wake up? Wake up. Enough watching us while sitting on a chair or reclining on a couch. We are drowning in your silence. We are screaming, but you took off your ears. You put them in your earbud cases. We see the blood as it gushes from the cases. The blood is our cries, our tears, our blood. You get displaced. You get wounded, yet survive. You jump off your cot when a missile hits the hospital. You shelter in a tent. You get displaced again. You get displaced again and again. On crutches, or a wheelchair. You get Gaza'd a zillion times. If we stay in our houses, they bomb us. If we shelter in a school, they bomb us. If we run to a hospital, they bomb us. If we run to a tent, they bomb us. If we go to a toilet, they bomb us. If we run from an airstrike, they bomb us. If we do not do any of this, they still bomb us. If we stay like a tree or temporarily leave like a leaf in the fall, they bomb us. But spring will come, and those who bomb us, will find no bombs among the flowers. We will be on the trees bathing in the sun, and those who bomb us, will have no sun, no place to rest, no legs to run. Last one. He never woke up. I saw a photo of someone. This is the poem about him. That was in Jabalia refugee camp. He never woke up. I can see a juicer, a mattress, a blanket, what remains of a closet, what remains of a basket, and maybe a potato or an onion. The dust makes it difficult for me to distinguish a potato from an onion. But I can distinguish death. I can see it in the open mouth, in the closed eyes. I can see every one of us under the rubble. Thank you.